Conflicting statements are adding to the mystery of Malaysia Airlines' missing jetliner. A massive air and sea search, now into its fifth day, has failed to find any trace of the Boeing 777 with 239 people on board. The plane had been 1 hour into its flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing when it vanished. One theory is that it tried to turn back, but Malaysia's Air Force has now denied, saying military radar tracked the jet hundreds of kilometres off course as far as the Strait of Malacca, which runs along Malaysia's west coast. Earlier it merged two men travelling on stolen passports were Iranians with no apparent links to terrorist groups.
For me, I think that it's quite a mystery because the plane suddenly disappeared like that without any trace. At the moment, I just can say that just wait and see, because we don't want to spread any news, false news, because it can affect the family's heart.
Be it an accident or an act of terror, families of the victims are desperate to know what happened. At Kuala Lumpur Airport, a wall of tributes to the missing is growing by the day.
From missing Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 continues, the international police agency Interpol said that two non-EU passport holders used stolen EU passports to board the flight. Interpol's Stolen and Lost Travel Documents database helps countries secure their borders and protects people from terrorists and dangerous criminals. Both passports were listed on the Interpol database. But there's an airline safety loophole because very few countries use the database. Last year, passengers were able to board planes more than 1 billion times without having their passports screened against Interpol's database. Interpol warns that stolen and fake passports are still a security threat. If national authorities took that threat seriously and controlled passports thoroughly, it would perhaps be a positive outcome. After the 9/11 tragedy, what we can bring on board a plane is strictly regulated. But how vulnerable is the security screening when it comes to identifying passengers? Euronews asked Michael O'Connell from international police agency Interpol.
We're spending a lot of energy screening for water bottles and other threats to be carried onto the aircraft, but we're not possibly investing as much attention into confirmation of the identity of the individuals that are also walking onto those aircraft as well.
Next, we asked Mr. O'Connell why passports are not systematically checked against Interpol's Stolen and Lost Travel Documents database. The database is there, but very few countries are using it. Why?
As we know, travel via aircraft predominantly is global in nature, and so as a consequence you would hope that national authorities would be harnessing global intelligence to match with their national intelligence, and the Interpol Stolen and Lost Travel Document Database provides an additional layer of international intelligence to provide confidence to the identity of the passengers that are travelling on the planes across the globe.
The Interpol database has grown from a few thousand passports to more than 40 million passports that have been reported stolen. That's a lot of passports out there that shouldn't be used. Isn't that worrying?
There is an uncomfortable number for sure that are out there travelling around the globe using the passports. We know there are in excess of 40 million passports and travel documents reported to us that shouldn't be used for travel in any means, and as a consequence of that volume we know that it's the responsibility of the border officials, the law enforcement officials and the national authorities to try and use that data to recover those documents and take them out of harm's way.
Finally, we spoke about the best way to eliminate the threat from criminals and terrorists using stolen and lost travel documents. Biometrics could be a solution, but at the moment very few countries can afford such a control system.
Well, we've seen that passport technology is evolving to utilise biometrics as well. The truest identity is in the biometrics married with a person's regularised national identity. A passport is used as a vehicle for marrying those two and presenting it to international authorities for authentication. So we still need to utilise the passport. Where we can use it with advancements of biometrics, then obviously that's the aspiration, but that can't be used globally at the moment. So we have to have the reliance on the old identifiers that are used within the passport, married with the presence of the